This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Man killed a woman injured in attack at Westmoorland Guest House. A man was shot and killed, and a 38-year-old hairdresser was injured by a gunman at a bar at a guest house in Negril, Westmoorland on Tuesday night. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old Edward Mosley, otherwise called Eddie, of Red Ground in Negril. The Negril police report that about 10:30 p.m., Mosley and the woman were among other patrons at a party being held at the Happy Quarters Guest House, located along Norman Manley Boulevard in Negril. Minutes later, a man dressed in darker clothing walked up to the bar while posing as a customer and ordered a bottle of liquor. He then left the bar but quickly returned and brandished a handgun and opened fire, hitting Mosley and the woman. The gunman ran from the venue and the police were summoned. Upon their arrival, Mosley was discovered suffering from gunshot wounds to his head, and the female was shot in the foot. They were taken to hospital, where Mosley was pronounced dead and the woman admitted. Wolmer's mourns the death of fifth form accidentally shot by dad. Dwight Pennycook, principal of Wolmer's Boys School, says a small army of grief counselors and well-wishers have rallied around the school community in the wake of the tragic death of a 15-year-old student on Wednesday morning. The young Wolmerian Raheem Shaw was a member of Form 5R at the Hero Circle institution. He was reportedly shot dead at home by his father in a case of mistaken identity, as his 51-year-old father reportedly mistook him for an intruder. The year group supervisor, Mrs. Carlene Grant, has taken it very hard. She is also his teacher, his POB teacher, and it has come as a very hard blow because they interacted last Friday. As it is right now, we would have done significant grief counseling up to 10:45 a.m. with our fifth form group, and his immediate form 5R, we have pulled them out for grief counseling, Pennycook told the news. The members of Form 5R have been receiving counseling support from members of the Guidance and the Counseling Unit from Region 1, supported by guidance counselors from Wolmer's Girls' School and the St. Andrew High School for Girls, Kingston College, and Camperdown. They have provided excellent grief counseling support. We have some of the young men who have a difficulty processing this. They are still in sessions, while those who are doing a little better have returned to classes to give them a little space to think about something different, the principal said. Pennycook praised the Wolmer's Older Boys Association, whose members have provided invaluable support to the young student population. They mobilized this morning, and a number of them came by, and those who could actually assist with counseling, they have done so, and they have been there for the younger Wolmerians, Pennycook said. This is the second Wolmerian who has died in the last 5 months. In May, David Minot, a Wolmer's Boys High School student, drowned during a beach trip at the Somerset Falls in Hope Bay, Portland. We are still grappling with the loss of David Minot, and so this now is yet another blow for this year group, a different class but the same year group, he said. The tragic death mirrors that of Pia Phillips, an Immaculate High School head girl who was allegedly shot accidentally on November 1, 2008 by her father, a licensed firearm holder, when he ran from the house to protect his wife and her daughter from the men who had accosted them. Phillips, who celebrated her 18th birthday the same day, had reportedly just arrived home with her mother from the choir practice when the tragedy unfolded. Police reports are that Phillips and her other family members were about to enter the house when 2 gunmen alighted from a car and demanded that they come to them. Scared, the victims reportedly screamed and ran towards the house. Phillips' father, who was inside the house, pulled his gun and rushed to the defense of his family. However, he allegedly slipped and the gun went off, hitting Phillips in her abdomen. Police, Federation, and FLA to discuss issue of cops being denied gun permits. The Police, Federation, and the Firearm Licensing Authority are to discuss the concern that police officers are being denied a license for personal guns. The issue was recently raised by opposition Senator Peter Bunting, who said the FLA was turning down hundreds of applications from police personnel and the reason given were questionable. Police Federation Chairman Corporal Rohan James, said all police officers should be granted firearm license. Corporal James said the issue will have to be ironed out at a meeting at which the Federation has been invited.
We are prepared to meet with the chairman and the board of FLA. We have been issued an invitation. I intend to accept and to take up the offer because some of these challenges must be resolved in the interest of national security. We cannot continue to have an under-resourced force and a distracted workforce and members feeling as if they are not being given the support in order to stand as a buffer between the law-abiding citizens of this country and criminal elements. It is rather strange that a police officer is never off duty and we are expected to respond to every citizen's need, and we are likely to be criminally charged if we don't respond. So therefore, it means that the state should enable us to protect ourselves in the defense of the citizens of this country.
Psychiatric evaluation ordered for woman charged over theft of courthouse keys. The woman charged in relation to the disappearance of keys belonging to the St. Catherine Parish Court has been ordered to undergo a psychiatric evaluation. The order was made on Tuesday by Parish Court Judge Nicole Kellier. Janet Fletcher, who is charged with a simple larceny, was remanded to reappear in court on October 14. Allegations are that on September 13, she visited the Spanish Town police station to make a report, and while there, she reportedly removed a bunch of keys belonging to the parish court. The keys are held at the police station for safekeeping. An intelligence-driven operation was conducted by the police, which led cops to Fletcher's home in St. Catherine. The police reported that the keys were found at the premises. She was taken into custody and later charged with a simple larceny. Education Minister reports a lull in teacher migration. Education Minister Favour Williams says the migration of Jamaican teachers to fill vacancies overseas has slowed. Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing, Mrs. Williams said there are fewer advertisements for posts to be filled locally and the level of anxiety among schools has diminished. She suggested that the ministry's locum tenens policy has helped in that regard, since teachers on long leave can now return to the classroom and be paid to teach for that period, in addition to being paid for their leave.
We have not seen the same level of anxiety that we saw before school began. Obviously, teacher migration is a global phenomenon. There are significant shifts, workplace shifts on the way across the world in a lot of countries. We gave strategies for teacher recruitment, including the concept of locum tenens, in which teachers on leave, on their long leave, can return to teach and be paid for teaching as well as for their leave. We will know exactly where we are when we do the census taking in October in our schools. In the meantime, as a data point, we're seeing fewer advertisements, and we're not hearing that there are a large number of positions to be filled. We set at a high level the standards, if you will, by which we will measure the policy at the school level.
In the meantime, the Education Minister has said while the ministry will set general standards, school boards will have the final say on the specific rules concerning the length and the size of students' uniforms.
It is not currently done, and it is not our intention to prescribe the length of a girl's uniform or the length of a boy's pants or the size of it. We leave those decisions to our boards in our schools, and each of our schools has a board comprising a parent rep, a student rep, depending on if you're primary versus high school.
Beachy Stout murder cases pushed back to October 6. Portland businessman Everton Beachy Stout MacDonald, who is charged for the deaths of his wife and ex-wife, is scheduled to return to court on October 6 for the continuation of a plea and a case management hearing. The 68-year-old defendant, who appeared via Zoom, was further remanded. Bail was extended for defendant Oscar Barnes, who is charged with MacDonald in one of the murder cases. MacDonald is jointly charged with Barnes for the July 20, 2020 murder of the businessman's second wife, Tonya Hamilton MacDonald. Tonya's partially burnt body was found with the throat slashed beside her burnt car along the Sherwood Forest Main Road. Another man, Devlin Minot, said to be the contract killer, pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 19 years in prison. Minot, in a witness statement, claimed that he was offered $3 million by MacDonald to kill his wife. Today's hearing with respect to Tonya's murder was unable to proceed because the defense lawyers were unable to confirm whether they had received a full disclosure. During the hearing, the prosecution informed the judge that full disclosure has been made. However, attorney-at-law John Jacob told the judge that he was advised by his colleague Earl Hamilton that there are outstanding documents that the prosecution is yet to disclose. Consequently, Justice Vinette Graham Allen, who was peeved at the prosecution and defense for disobeying her order for them to have discussions to ensure that disclosure was settled, reluctantly postponed the hearing. When the court make orders, you must comply, she said. I can't go any further because that is a question that must first be answered, the judge added. In the meantime, the judge again ordered both parties to have discussions to ensure that all the documents have been disclosed. She also ordered that Hamilton appears in court at the next hearing. The registrar was instructed to notify the lawyer in writing. In the other case, MacDonald is charged for the May 2, 2000 murder of his first wife, Merlin Petal MacDonald. Merlin was shot dead outside her home in Boundbrook, Portland. It is alleged that MacDonald paid a police detective to kill his wife after their marriage crumbled and she left the matrimonial home. The hearing regarding that matter was similarly set for the said date to facilitate disclosure of the indictment to attorney-at-law John Jacobs, who was recently retained by the businessman. The voluntary indictment is to be disclosed by October 3. The parties were also ordered to have similar discussions about disclosure as well as the length and the mode of trial. Earl Hamilton is also representing MacDonald. Barnes is being represented by attorney Ernest Davis. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.